Superman.
Because of the great divide with how people received James Gunn's Superman and what they thought about the marketing of it and what a lot of people thought about the movie, I think no matter what I say, I'm going to draw a lot of ire. I already made a video prior to this one talking about the supposed reasons why people were upset, either at James Gunn or the marketing of the movie. But you know, I'm of the camp that yes, things can look weird. You can accuse the people who are marketing the movie of not really doing a great job, and you can even say that the thing looks like trash. But if I want to judge a movie, ultimately, as it stands alone, I am going to go see the movie for myself before I give my full review on it, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to be completely honest, as I always try to be. So hello, and welcome to the Madhouse. Let's get into the review. Let me first start off by saying that the only exposure that I had to Superman, like on screen, as I've said in other videos, but for those of you who are new, this is your first video watching, I've only seen the Superman prior to Henry Cavill and Henry Cavill's Superman. I realize I pronounced his name different 2 times. I'm trying to be better with it. My husband introduced me to the Christopher Reeve Superman, or Reeve, whatever. And he wanted me to get context of what Superman was. I'm sorry, my dog is chewing his rawhide in the background, so just deal with it. He's just a puppy. I can't just take it away from him. Please forgive me. Anyway, so my husband showed me the first 2 movies. They were extremely campy, but I did like them. Superman was very personable, a little bit dumb at times. And some of the characters were very annoying. I thought Lex was cartoonishly stupid, or either way too convenient in terms of the plot, like he would just know things that he shouldn't know. And I get that's part of his genius, but I do feel like the writing could have been better. But as movies, they were very enjoyable, and I was rooting for Superman, and I liked it a lot. Henry Cavill's Superman, which was my main exposure to Superman, I absolutely love it because, yes, little bias, I really like Henry Cavill, and it made Superman look like a god, which is what he is. And I thought that's what his true portrayal was supposed to be. And the first Superman iteration that I was exposed to, he kind of felt like that too. This very humble and altruistic, godlike entity that came to Earth and doesn't really need to be bothered with us, but still bends over backwards to do what he needs to do to save humanity without ever asking for anything in return. And like I said, when I first saw this movie, my daddy's actually the one who sat down and watched this with me, only for me to a few days ago have it revealed to me by my husband that this was actually the continuation of the Christopher Reeve's version of Superman, which would make this one the 5th movie. I didn't know that at the time, but apparently it wasn't well received, and they've been rebooting things. And what we can all agree on, regardless of whether you like Henry Cavill or not, is that the DCEU hasn't really been handling its actors and its characters the best way possible. It's been a mess. And so when they brought in James Gunn, I imagined, like myself, a lot of people would be happy about this, but apparently not. And I don't completely blame them because I know Hollywood's lost faith with the audience, so that's kind of the monster they made. But I figured anything has to be better than what we've been getting. And so far, most things I've seen from James Gunn are really good, including his horror that was based on Superman, Brightburn. Good Lord, this man can do horror. And in this movie, they didn't explicitly say it was Superman, but he did a really dark version, alternate light universe of Superman if he were to be evil from a child. One thing you can say about James Gunn is that he puts passion into his work. And the same passion that we saw from Guardians of the Galaxy, especially the 3rd movie, I did feel that in this movie. I think it was an excellent movie. This may shock some people, and I think people were expecting me to bash it or something, but he handled it well. And if you have me crying through a movie or cheering for the characters and feeling bad about when things happen to them, you have accomplished what you set out to do, because I cared about Superman. People know up and down. From the inception of David Cornswet, I did not like the man. It's not that I didn't like him personally. I don't know him, of course, but he didn't look like Henry Cavill, which I know that's a stupid thing to expect, but when you're playing Superman, I expect you to look like Superman. And maybe it was the angles, but there were a lot of angles that they did use in the movie over some of the weird shots that they used instead where he looked like Superman. And oh my God, I can't believe I'm freaking saying this because I never thought I would say it, because you guys knew up and down how I was like, who is this dusty ass Dollar Tree version of freaking Superman? That's not my Superman. But bro, guess who Superman he is now? I absolutely loved this movie. I loved this movie. Most of what they showed in the first trailer was actually the first portion of the movie, and I did not watch any other TV spots after that. I'll get into more details about what's going on, but I'll tell you things I love about it. I wanted to come out and humble myself and said I was wrong about David Cornswet. He threw his ass into the role. Okay, that sounds weird, but he threw his heart into the role. And all the people behind this production, you could feel that they really had a passion for Superman. And I guess that the Christopher Christopher Reeve Superman was from James Gunn's timeline, or when he grew up. And now that I've watched those movies, I can say, at least the first two, that yes, you can feel the inspiration from there. The music, the score, Superman's personality, wow. Knowing where the origin of Superman came from with the Christopher Reeve one, which is the widely popularized one, which everyone seems to universally love, it feels like that Superman. He feels like Superman. I don't know why they chose all those really emotional clips at the time to market this movie. I wish they would have left those out. So I still maintain that opinion. But yes, knowing what we know about him now, it was earned. And because he has the influences of growing up human and some of the dialogue that you get in the movie, you kind of understand why he behaves like that. He's not perfect, and there's a whole monologue he does near the end of the movie, which is so heartfelt, and it made me root for him. It made me feel relatable to him, and it makes sense that you would feel relatable to him because his backstory, especially the way he ended it, I don't want to spoil too much, but you get the human element, which is why we root for him, because he doesn't have to. Remember Invincible? It basically is that. Now, one of the issues that a lot of people were saying about the comedy is that, James Gunn and Marvel tend to have very misplaced comedy, and we didn't really get that with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. If you have a very emotional moment, it should not be a situation where you're expecting a joke around the corner to break you out of it. And I'm happy to report that despite what was being said, you barely got any of that. Of course, there were moments that you could construe as being comedic, but it's not really different than the original movies that this is based on, because the original Superman had that same kind of quirky humor, and I have to say that the Christopher Reeve Superman had way more humor in it. I mean, I was actually surprised. By the way, I don't know what this clip is. I didn't watch these movies. My husband said they were ass. Maybe I will watch them, but the first two, super corny, super comedic. Maybe it was because of the time period, but I could not take half of it seriously, even when Superman was being hurt at one point. It felt very Goony, and, well, Goony means something else, doesn't it? Goony, yeah, I think that's a bad word, isn't it? Okay, not Goony. It felt loony. There you go, loony, that's the word. And it was very hard to take things seriously up until a point at the end of the movie where I was like, all right, okay, now I kind of feel something. Now it's kind of earned, even though it feels very out of place. And James Gunn's Superman was not that. I think the emotional stakes were wonderful. There were characters in there that I absolutely love each character, even though it did feel as though there were a lot of characters in this movie, maybe a little bit too much. They each still felt like their characters, even the side characters that honestly didn't feel that necessary. I do think part of the characters, the side characters being there was a little bit of a cop-out so that Superman could solve certain problems when he couldn't be in two places at once, but it's okay. It worked because we learned to like those characters. They didn't feel completely unnecessary, and you understand. James Gunn made them feel like people. He's really good at an ensemble of characters, of having different characters and different things going on, and somehow making it work and not making you feel as though you're being overstimulated by too many characters with nothing for them to do. That being said, I also love Nicholas Hoult in a lot of things I've watched, like watched him in The Great, watched him in this zombie romance movie, which was amazing. I love that movie. I think that's the first movie I saw him in. Warm Bodies or Hearts or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but he was a zombie. And Nicholas Hoult is an amazing actor. Holy shit. There were scenes like this one that were a little bit ridiculous because it's like, okay, this guy's coming in. Look at how badass he is. Love the villain girl, by the way, with the nanotech. I love her, the nanotech one. But you see things flying past his face and not a scratch whatsoever. He doesn't even flinch or blink. What is he, Putin? Which is funny because I think there's a character in here that seems to be based on Putin. But there is a scene where something's happening to Superman and Nicholas Hoult looks like he's getting off on it. And I'm like, damn, dude, what is your issue with Superman? It is so much deeper. I also like that we get a little bit of the motivation for why he hates Superman, but then the other motivation, the other half of his motivation doesn't really make sense. But this guy, he really solely acting. And I do love this version of Lex Luthor. I think it's the best version that I've seen. Granted, I don't have that much experience, but based on this, I love this. I love this version of Lex Luthor, and he actually felt intelligent. The writing near the end was kind of convenient, like, okay, Lex Luthor as we know him, knowing what he knew about Superman with Krypto there, he would have thought of a way around that. So I feel like that was a little bit convenient with how they solved that problem near the end of the movie. But still, for most of the movie, Lex Luthor felt like a worthy villain. The next character that I liked, aside from Superman, was my favorite character. Oh my god, Mr. Terrific. Like, damn, this character is so badass. Oh my god, just the freaking suaveness. Oh my God. I really, really, really loved his character. I feel like I've seen him somewhere. Was it For All Man's Sky? I mean, For All, show with the, damn it, what's the thing called? For All something with Mars and, anyway, it doesn't matter. It will come to me. I always keep forgetting. But he killed it as Mr. Terrific. I loved his character. Every time he came on screen, I was like, ooh, oh, yes. I would actually watch a show with him. As long as I don't butcher his character, I would watch a show with just him. I love him. I love his personality. He never smiles, but that one time when he was smiling, I was like, oh my God. I really, 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 really like him. Oh my goodness gracious. And when he was on screen with Superman, even though he had some comedic elements, it wasn't really comedy. It was just him being himself. So it didn't feel forced at all. Ugh. And I didn't really know that much about Mr. Terrific outside of like what I've read, but I'm like, oh, I want to know more about him. I want to know his backstory. Like, I'm interested. He was a side character, but he also had main character big dick energy without even trying. Have you guys watched Dandanan? Big spoilers for that. But in season 2, episode 2, one of our main characters gets possessed and turns into this freaking badass, handsome ass looking thing. And I was like, oh my God. That kind of energy, that's the kind of energy I was getting from him, from Mr. Terrific.
Looking for a way to make him look cool, or you were looking for a function, an explanation for having them justify there. Yeah. And my thing was just maybe they're supposed to look a little silly. Maybe the reason he wears them is to look a little silly, basically to undermine how powerful he really is.
As a dog person, whenever Crypto was on screen, he felt like a real dog. It was never annoying having him around, and I think everybody could relate. It was so adorable. And then we also got an ad for Milkbone, which is funny and well placed too, because that is exactly the treats that we give our dogs. So yeah, they're good company, so far anyway. There were some other side characters in there, and they worked them around and made it so they mattered or had a purpose later on. There were some silly scenes in there with Superman and things that he would do that people were like, really? But somehow it fits his character, and it just shows you how good he is. Maybe a bit naive, which they do address, which is, funny enough, his kryptonite. His kindness and altruism is a little bit of his kryptonite. Anyway, the overall thoughts of the movie, I would see it again in theaters. I really, really liked it. I do think people should go and try it out for themselves. My husband is a big fan of Superman, specifically the Christopher Reeve era. So he thought that, should I say this? Let's just say he didn't believe all the hate that was coming from people, because he feels as though some people might have something against James Gunn or Hollywood in general. I disagreed with him. We will still fight to the end about that, because I stand with the fact that people like what they like. Are some people probably hating the movie because they're upset with Hollywood and they want Hollywood to do better? Yeah, maybe. Truth of the matter is, I'm not in anybody's head, and I'm telling you that I went and saw the movie, and this is from someone who's also very tired of Hollywood shit, their lack of quality, their lack of passion, and this movie felt refreshing. I didn't feel like I walked out and wasted my money, to the point where I'm like, I hope it's not over. I hope it doesn't end yet. I hope we're getting more of the movie right now. I was fully immersed within it. Even with Lewis, at first, I was a little annoyed with her. Then I liked her by the end, and I was cheering for her as well. And the way they gave the payoff of, I'm not going to say what it is, but oh my gosh, I was crying. I get very emotional with certain things. The thing with his dad, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. I think the movie was beautiful. Regardless of what you heard from me or from anybody else who might have a different opinion, I respect everyone's opinion. I don't think we should attack each other for our differences in opinion or our preferences, but what I would say is, don't make a decision to just not go see the movie because of somebody saying that they didn't like it. Don't even take my word and be like, well, it must be good because Alteori says that she liked it. What I would say is, make up your own mind. Go and see the movie for you simply being curious. If the trailer did its job and made you curious enough to want to watch the movie, and make up your own mind. Even if you find the marketing bad, it's okay to find the trailer corny or bad or certain things about the marketing that you didn't like. But you're not really gonna know how the movie is unless you yourself see it and give it a chance. And if you have seen the movie and you came away not liking it, what do you think they could have done better? If you did like it, what exactly did you like about the movie? I think there needs to be a dialogue with each other instead of people attacking each other for liking or not liking something. I will never understand why people do that, or why people will see someone liking something and say, well, you must be a shill. Especially if they're a regular regular person. Like if the person was paid or gave a free test screening or whatever, and there's a motivator there as to why they should give a good review, then yes, you should have an issue or be skeptical about what they say. But if it's a regular, degular person like me or you who spent their own money to go see it, then there's no reason to believe otherwise, since you're not telepathic, that the person is lying about their opinion just so you can cope with the fact that someone didn't have the same perception about a fantasy world than you did. That being said, my opinion is if James Gunn can bring the same kind of quality that he brought to this movie in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and a lot of his other works, I feel like DC will have a chance. Ooh, I know I'm gonna upset a lot of people, but that is my honest opinion. I know for certain my dad's gonna like this. I'm actually gonna call him right now and tell him, Daddy, you need to go see this movie. He is a big superhero fan. He's also a Marvel boy. He loves anything Marvel, like the things I think are cringe, he doesn't. But that being said, he would love this because he's also a really big fan of Superman. He grew up with him. So yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Have fun and tell me your honest opinions.